Hello, Ran here, aka Mac, and welcome. Today I'm going to bring you another career video. Up next in this series, I'll be taking a look at the medical career. Now, it has been said, and I quote, "The medical profession is one of the more important occupations within Star Citizen, and it's intended to be one of the larger and more flexible roles." So the profession can branch into multiple disciplines. We've got combat medic, emergency services, search and rescue, onboard medic, and even an on-call doctor. We know Star Citizen is planning on having a very in-depth player health mechanic, but how in-depth is it likely to be? In this video, I will go into detail regarding what each particular role will likely require and what you can expect should you decide to pursue it. So firstly, let's just take a quick look at what we currently have in terms of player health. Each player has two medipens, which are personal handheld devices used to heal all injuries at once, getting your health back to maximum value. In Star Marine and the Baby Persistent universe, your body is split into 6 areas. You have the head, the torso, 2 arms, and 2 legs. Each of these can sustain damage but currently create no active effect. Bleeding was added with 2.6 and stacks additively with itself, decreasing your total health pool with each second it ticks down. To stop it, you must use one of these medipens. It's pretty basic, but it does the trick for now. Now, the player health that is intended, it's devised via a limb-based system varying severity, permanent, and reaction. So the limb severity goes from normal, hurt, damaged, and ruined. Normal being 90% or above, hurt being 90 to 50%, damaged 50 to 1%, and then ruined being less than 1%. There are 10 areas of the body. They have the head, the torso, the right and left upper arm, right and left lower arm, and the right and left lower and upper leg. As each level is reached, limbs will affect your performance and ability, increasing as the damage does. Now, the first thing when it comes to treating anyone that's injured is identifying. Identifying player injuries will either be visual, by way of blood and animation which will show up visually for you to see, or using your helmet hood and mobi-glass. Now, this will be like player visors which will show you the current state of the limbs, provided that you have a biometric scanner attached. I expect there will be a medic-specific hood which you can purchase as, say, an aftermarket upgrade to help point out the damage on others in some way, but we don't know how yet. There will be handheld gadgets. Some gadgets allow players to sort of track limb damage, very much like the hood, I expect, but maybe more advanced. Other signs of player or NPC damage will be shortness of breath, limping, loss of limbs, which is quite obvious among others. If the player is conscious, he will obviously be able to tell you directly what the issue is, provided it's a real person. So when it comes to treating them, they intend for, things like insta-kills will be difficult in Star Citizen. It's more likely that you'll take heavy limb damage, incapacitating you until a friendly player can drag them to safety and heal them. The hurt state is the highest state of damage which you'll be able to re-enter combat with. And if no one attends to a downed player, then they will just eventually die. It won't be a case of hiding behind cover and waiting for the blood to disappear from the screen. They want to promote team play and tactics. When using battlefield med devices, they will only work so many times. Eventually that player, or the injured player, will need to be taken to a proper hospital for full healing and treatment. Moving on to medical devices, there will be 2 types of medical equipment. You've got field tech and intensive systems. Field tech, which is stuff you can carry around with you on your person, and intensive systems, which are provided by med bays or med stations. If in the field you cannot be healed to full capacity, field tech and gadgets can be carried by players and NPCs, but these will only nullify the pain, maybe stop the bleeding, or restore vital systems and calm the body systems so the person can function again. For example, the Dynapack personal medkit. Now, intensive systems can be found in medbays and hospitals, and these are capable of healing serious wounds. There will be a thing called medical immersion chambers, which can rebuild tissue, replace blood, plus use 3D printing tech, which sounds very cool. So the first role in the medical profession, and probably going to be the most used, will be the combat medic or field medic. Now, they'll be performing field triage, healing some injuries entirely, and with others just enough so that the injured party is more functional, or just keeping them alive until they can get more advanced medical treatment. Now, depending on the cause of death, a well-trained medic can occasionally restart a patient's heart. Not after a headshot or, being swallowed by a giant worm, of course. But similarly to the defibs that we see in Battlefield, the combat medic will carry items like the Dynapack medkit, plus any other item which can be used to treat non-serious wounds. Nothing has been said regarding things like bandages or anything along those lines, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see something similar. This will be a case of running around with your comrades and trying to get to them as quick as possible on the battlefield or wherever you are, dragging them to safety and making sure that you treat them accordingly. Now, the next role will likely be search and rescue. This is kind of more a specialist role within the medical profession, requiring more than just a trained medic. Many ships can be outfitted with a medbay and capable of treating patients further than in the field, but not quite as thoroughly as a hospital could. There are a number of ships which are capable for this. I will go into the ships later, but for example, let's take the Cutlass Red, which has been fitted with a medbay, which has beds plus more equipment than a single person can carry. A crew would need to work together firstly to find the injured players. So for example, if there was an Idris wreck which you're searching for, once you arrive there may be multiple bodies floating around. Finding them and treating them can be quite challenging, but keeping any alive long enough to get to a hospital and also tractoring bodies in or even escape pods back into your medbay, and again rescuing and treating them if necessary. It is going to be quite challenging working as a team, but it'll be fun nonetheless. Now, during the Genesis Starliner concept sale, a design post was released titled Civilian Passenger Transport. I'll put a link in the description so you can read it yourselves. But this delves into how running a Starliner, which is your passenger transport ship, will likely play out. There was a paragraph of this post called Medical Diagnosis and Treatment. Now, this is what I would consider as the doctor's role, or the doctor career. I'll read out the gameplay possibilities mentioned in this post, but you'll be dealing with illness, and there will be a wide variety of diseases or ailments which can affect the passengers. Each have their own symptoms, and careful monitoring of passengers' behaviour will help you ascertain the problem. Symptoms like coughing, chest pain, shortness of breath, migraine, aversion to light, sore necks, and itching, these will all provide clues into the cause of the affliction. Now, because these symptoms will only gradually reveal themselves over time, the player will need to be adept at keeping an eye on the passengers while fulfilling their other duties. I do wonder if we will be able to maybe have these people sit in a medbay so you can observe them and just sort of see what symptoms persist. Doctors will have onboard computers allowing you to input symptoms which will identify possible illnesses, but obviously if you could diagnose them by learning them and knowing the telltale signs, then you will be a better doctor. Getting a good rep as a doctor will come from correctly identifying and treating patients as quickly as possible. Now, passenger transporters will be equipped with at least one medical supply cabinet. This will hold the basic diagnostic equipment, also contain a number of treatments to either address or alleviate the illness. But do take care not to prescribe the wrong medicine, which will make the situation worse or even cause death. That's how you get a bad rep. Now, illness can transmit their effects via fear or contagion. Fear represents itself with passengers turning and looking towards the traveller showing symptoms. Contagions are the spread of diseases and only applicable to some of the illnesses but not all. The speed at which you identify and treat these illnesses will not only affect your rep but the rep of the ship as well. This will most likely just be if NPC passengers are on board. Obviously real players will have their own cognitive thought, but NPCs will have to just sort of base it on what they're programmed to. That is actually quite exciting. It's something that the level of detail they're going to is insane. So the next role is probably somewhere between combat medic and doctor. It's more of an onboard medic of a proper ship. On ships full of players, you'll likely be treating things again like illnesses, but also wounds. So like the onboard doctor of a passenger transport, you'll have access to some form of medical supply. To break it down in sort of ship sizes, single seat ships will have a small med kit maybe under the seat. Medium ships may have medic lockers with a few medical devices, and then larger ships will have full-on med bays ranging in size but allowing for proper treatment and emergency surgery. Now, I'm not sure if while on board a ship you will be able to treat them thoroughly. Ships more sort of the size of Idris, Javelin or Bengal, or whether you'll have to go to a planetside hospital or maybe find an Endeavour Hope class. But the ship medic, of course, you'll be treating any illnesses. You'll have to monitor and keep an eye on all your crewmates, treating them accordingly. I do wonder if real players will actually show involuntary symptoms like coughing and sneezing, because obviously this would play well when deciding which of your friends to take on a mission. If one of them is constantly coughing and you have a stealth job, you won't want to take him. But also, if any crew member is to injure themselves maybe in engineering or possibly when shifting cargo boxes, or if you accidentally shoot them in the back, it happens unfortunately, you will need to ensure that they survive, and I expect on most ships you won't be able to treat them thoroughly. However, stopping the flow of blood perhaps and keeping them alive until you can get them to a fully operational hospital will be vital. Alongside keeping an eye on your crew, they will come to you at the medbay should they find any ailments or symptoms themselves. So that's where you need to be located. Now, the next role is similar to the search and rescue role, but it's more like emergency services. So if you got a call or that your org mate has had an accident or was injured in some way, then you and your crew would need to hop on board your medical ship, again, let's say the Cutlass Red, and speed to their location to help. This could be planetside, it could be on another ship. Think more along the lines of an ambulance crew. You're helping treat the wounds further than a field medic can while taking them to hospital. So if your org you've got a group on the floor on the planet who are fighting, one of them gets shot, the combat medic manages to stop the flow of blood, treats the wound, but obviously this guy is still incapacitated, then you would need the emergency services from your org to fly down, get him on board the Cutlass Red, treat him further and, stabilize him like you would in real life and get him back to the hospital to be properly treated. Now the ships, there is a good lineup of ships which can be, which are either set as a medical profession ship or can be retrofitted. The Drake Cutlass Red converts the standard cargo hold into a well-equipped medical facility, including an auto dock. It says, I'm not sure what an auto dock is. This ambulance, it says, features a NAV E7 Eco transponder, long-range scanner, and Secure Plus docking collar. Now, this is the ideal search and rescue ship, but also useful for orgs as an ambulance. The next ship is the Endeavour. Now, this is only the Hope class, which is a pod that you can attach to your Endeavour. It can be fitted with a medical bay pod, which allows it to operate effectively as a standing hospital. Now, it comes complete with operating theatres, recovery rooms, and more, and it's intended to work alongside the landing bay, which can house a Cutlass Red as an ambulance. And this can be used to ferry patients from battlefield to disaster, just like I've said. The good thing is this can also relocate to anywhere in the verse and assist. So if your friends are all fighting a big battle, take your Endeavour, or even if you're not, you can, we'll get to this, you can switch on your service beacon, and this will announce your presence in the area and the services you offer, plus the price and your reputation. Now, the crew will head out to where the battle or disaster is happening on board the Endeavour. Then, using the Cutlass, they could send out a team to gather the injured players or NPCs, keep them alive while they carry them back to the Endeavour and treat them thoroughly. With your beacon switched on, if someone needs medical assistance, they can come visit you. It's not a bad way to earn some extra cash. But it's also worth pointing out that the Endeavour can be used as a respawn location, and after paying a premium, have one of your existing ships delivered so you can return to battle. So if you got killed during the battle, you can respawn at wherever this Endeavour is. If it's close by, it's obviously better than respawning at a planet and having to travel all that way. But it will cost a lot of money and it'll take a lot of time. Anyway, the other ships that are available, there are many others like the Endeavour, which are modular and can have medbays swapped in and out. Ships like the Carrack, the Caterpillar, the Retaliator. Obviously, larger ships like the Polaris, the Idris, the Javelin, and the Bengal will likely come fitted with a medbay as standard, but smaller ships will maybe have locker-style supplies. There will be others with these options, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another dedicated medical ship similar to the Cutlass. I do expect smaller ships like the Avenger will have an option, maybe as a medical upgrade option, which would be great as a first responder, very nippy, just to get down there and treat the people as much as possible. But anyway, that's pretty much all there is to do with the medical profession. Whatever role you choose will be a very profitable and rewarding career. There will always be someone out there in need of medical attention, and provided that you learn the role well, work will always come your way. So I love how in-depth they are planning this player health and treatment. It really encourages thought and tactics in the fields of Star Citizen. Very, very exciting. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Would you like to be a medic, a doctor, a search and rescue team? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch and Instagram, and hit that subscribe button and like button here on YouTube. And I shall see you next time.